Well, good morning everybody. Thank you for joining me again. As you can see, I'm down at the River Dart. Hopefully you can hear me okay over the sound of the river. So this morning I've walked upstream from Newbridge. I've been walking for maybe an hour and a half, and I've got as far as the path will go to these pools where people go wild swimming. I'll put the name up in a minute. I think it's called Sharrah Pools, not sure. So this is another scouting mission. I've not been here before, so I don't know what I'm going to find. So I'm going to take a slow walk back to the car park, which will probably take me a couple of hours, and see what I find on the way now that the sun, or should I say, now that it's a bit more daylight. It's very overcast today. Anyway, let's see what I find. So as you can see, if I see something that I think will make a good photograph, before I put my camera on the tripod, I have a good scout around trying to compose the image. What I'm looking for is some balance in the photograph. Might sound daft, but it helps to squint your eyes and you can see the sort of component parts of the photograph rather than the subject. Also, I'm also looking around the edges of the frame to see if there's anything distracting that would take your eye away from the subject. For this photograph I was shooting with my Sony 16 to 50mm kit lens. Unfortunately, last week, just after filming, a gust of wind took my tripod over and broke my Sigma 16mm prime lens in half. Bit of an expensive lesson. So the subject's obviously that tree with the river running past it. I'm trying to get a slightly longer exposure just to make the water look a bit more blurred. So as you can see, I was back at 16mm with f8 and an 1/8 of a second at an ISO of 100. And I've cropped it to a square crop. As I said, taking out the distracting parts around the outside of the image. So for this shot, I'd seen a tree that was in the middle of the river, and to start with I was trying to use that as the main subject with the river running around it, and I was thinking of a square crop, but it wasn't really working, and to start with I didn't think this was going to make a very good image. So in the end I ended up with this panorama. Again, I was at 16mm. I'd got f11 just to give me a deeper depth of field, make sure everything was in focus. I had a polarizing filter on which allowed me the 1 second shutter speed, and I was at ISO 100. The only thing I would say is, because I was using my kit lens, the image wasn't quite as sharp as I would have liked. So this next image I saw was all about colour, and I'll let you see what I'm talking about. So I'd framed up the image, and this image was all about experimenting with the polarizing filter, trying to get the best reflection in the water and capture that colour. Again, I was using the 16 to 50mm lens. I'd kept it f11 for the depth of field, the 1 second exposure, and again at ISO 100. So if you're coming here, this is quite an easy walk for the most part. There is some inclines. You are at some points quite high up above the river, but the forested parts were really quite nice, and as you can hear, a lot of bird song. So these next two images were taken in the more open forested areas. As you can see, those three lovely oak trees there. I was back on my 70 to 350mm Sony G lens, and all I was doing with this shot was trying to get a nice composition of those trees and the fallen ones in the foreground. And this next was a little bonus. There's lots of fungi this time of year. I was trying to capture the delicate sort of nature of these two, but putting them in a bit of context, you could see the one in the background just blurred out. This was a bonus shot. So this was the last shot I got. It was quite difficult to photograph the river because of all the trees around it. So I found this composition. I quite liked the tree that was intersecting on the right hand side and sort of framed the river nicely, so I went for it. As I said, this was just a scouting mission, so I'll have plenty of time to come back again. Maybe spend a bit more time and get a few better shots. Well, I think that's all for today. Had a nice morning, seen lots of colour, and hopefully I've got some photographs to show you. Thank you all for joining me again, and if you like the video, please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will help my channel, and give me a like. But for now, cheerio.